The early access build of Assetto Corsa EVO is here, and after spending some time yesterday testing it out, I wanted to give you my first impression.
Wow, it's like...
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. As you may know, the sim that I've spent the most time with is iRacing, and I've loved every minute of it. In the build-up to AC EVO's release, a lot of people have said that it has the potential to be the iRacing killer, or that it's the sim of the future, and that people will drop their current sim to start playing this one. I think that's a little bit getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm always interested in new sim titles, and I'm excited to see what the hype is all about. I've put plenty of hours into the original Assetto Corsa, which has been my go-to sim for training local tracks in preparation for track days with my real car, and that's all possible thanks to the amazing modding community. And it's great to know that modding support is still a priority for the developers of AC EVO. I've also dabbled with Assetto Corsa Competizione, but its lack of built-in matchmaking system didn't have me coming back very often. And third-party platforms like LFM just don't have enough active players when you compare to iRacing. So what exactly were my expectations for AC EVO? After following the game's reveal at SimExpo 2024 and listening to a few of Kuno's CEO Marco Massarito's interviews, it's clear that the development team has been focused on enhancing the physics and tire model, making it the best version they've created so far, with a brand new graphics engine, and using those two things as the foundation of the sim, and packaging that with modern SimCade features, kind of like what you see in Gran Turismo 7. And yes, there will be free roam too. Massarito couldn't confirm that there will be any kind of ranked matchmaking system like iRacing has, so it's clear that Kunos are after the more casual sim racer instead of competitive sim racers looking for structured and reliable competition. And I actually love the sound of that. iRacing can be pretty stressful, as you may know if you've watched my iRacing videos, so having a more SimCade title like AC EVO would be a great addition alongside it rather than a replacement for it. So those were my expectations, but now it's time to jump into the sim and see what the reality is. Right guys, so here we are on the title screen of Assetto Corsa EVO, and before I keep going, let me remind you that this is an early access version. You can expect a lot of bugs, a lot of things to be improved, and for the developers to polish the game and make it better. Now that being said, I bought it on Steam for $32 plus tax. So let's take a quick look at the different menus here, and you will see that there are a lot of things that are not available currently. They're grayed out, like here. So there is only a few things that we have access to. It's a single player and the garage. So let me go there first so we can take a look at the cars that are available. This version comes with 20 cars, and you just have to go on the left of the screen here. I don't think you can see it on my screen, but you have the brand. You just have to click on it, and then you can choose through all the different cars. If there is one thing that AC EVO has that iRacing definitely doesn't, it's street cars. And while most of my interest is in the race cars in AC EVO, we can't ignore the fact that Assetto Corsa has always been about offering a realistic look at street cars that you and I can drive. I took a drive in the Ferrari 296, the Lotus Emira, and the BMW M2 CSR. Each had its own unique characteristics in the way they handled, and while I've not driven any of them in real life, they were fun to drive. It's great that you can choose to run them with not only a road tire, but you also get two additional options, the supercar and hypercar tires, which offer higher amounts of grip. I would assume the supercar tire is more of a semi-slick track day tire, which I've run before on my real life car on track days. I did try running the supercar and hypercar tires in the rain, and I noticed there is way too much grip. A true semi-slick tire would be completely useless in the wet. One awesome feature that expresses the attention to detail in these cars is the fact that each car has fully functioning dashboard pages that you can toggle through. I was a little disappointed in the sound of some of the street cars. They just sounded a little too artificial for my liking. But the race cars in particular sounded awesome. Going back to the garage, I think the game actually looks really good. It has a lot of super cool options. Of course, the view here on the car is super nice. You can zoom in and out. They have a lot more options. So if you look at the bottom of the screen here, and I'm gonna move my camera so you can see it, you can choose the scene option. So you can change the weather, you can change the time of day, so you can see how it evolves over time. I think it's really cool. And you can also choose the showroom. Let me show you, for example, the track garage. I think that's a nice one. You also have car control, so you can basically put the lights on, change the signals, put it in reverse. You have animations as well. I'm not sure. Oh, nice. So you can open and see the engine, open the doors. I think it's really cool. I really like all the options that they give here, and then you can see how the car looks like during the sunset as well. Anyways, you see the point. So I'm gonna go back now. One thing that you might notice is there's a little bit of lag on the menu. If I go in the settings, for example, I think it's a little bit more noticeable. At the top here, it's kind of slow. It's not too bad, and it is expected, to be honest, because this is the early access, and I think it was the exact same thing with Le Mans Ultimate when it just launched. So let's go on the single player drive. And if you've played ACC before, you will notice that it is very similar in terms of the interface. Still very nice. I like it. And let's look at the tracks. So you get 5 tracks on this early access. You get Brands Hatch, Imola, Laguna Seca, Mount Panorama, and then 3 options for Suzuka. In terms of game mode, for now you have access to practice, quick race, which is with the AI, and as you can see, the race weekend is not yet an option. So we're gonna go with practice for now at Imola, clear weather, and let's try it out. First of all, I have to say the downshifts on this car are just so good. I love it. So let's start by talking about the graphics. Kudos developed their own graphics engine for this title, leaving behind Unreal Engine, which was used for ACC. Now, when I first launched the game, I have to say it took quite a bit of time to get the settings right. You have to find the perfect balance between the graphics and the FPS if you want to have somewhat of a nice experience. Obviously, it is still in final development, so can't expect too much, but I had to adjust the settings for quite a bit to be really able to play it, but I have to say I'm fairly happy with the way it looks right now. Definitely expecting some optimization fairly soon, so that's not something that I'm concerned about. And to be completely honest, coming from iRacing, I think we all know they're not known for the best graphics, even though they've improved a lot recently, but they're focusing more on the physics. However, for Assetto Corsa EVO, I think the graphics are definitely going to be a big part of it and something that people are also looking for. So when it comes to rain, I took the Ferrari 488 Challenge EVO at Imola to see what it's like. The graphical effects and the sounds are all well done. The cracks of thunder during heavy rain were a nice touch. In standard rain conditions, driving the Ferrari was pretty easy, and it mostly just felt like you were driving a car with crazy amounts of understeer. It was a lot more interesting in heavy rain conditions though. You could see a clear difference in parts of the track that were more wet than others, and I even aquaplaned a few times. Oh, wow, it's like... Now the next thing is the force feedback. I am running on my Simucube 2 Pro right now with the Asher F64 steering wheel, and I have to say so far there are no complaints. It feels really good, it feels polished. Now when you're dialing in the game, you have to remember about the damping, adjust it so that it feels right for you. Right now I have everything at 0, but changing it can really change the feeling of it all, so don't hesitate to play with it and see what feels right for you. Now, one thing that I realized in here is you can save a slide a lot more easily. I think it comes from the tire model. It is different from iRacing. In iRacing, I've definitely spun out just now. I think you can play a little bit more with the car here. It's definitely easy. I don't know if it's necessarily more realistic, honestly. It's a little bit hard to say, but I definitely like that feeling, and I feel like I can play with the car a little bit more. Kuno said they worked a lot on the suspension behavior and improving it, especially over ACC, where it felt really rigid all the time and the cars would really bounce hard off curbs. In AT EVO, it's definitely better. You can feel the suspension compress and you can feel more of the tires as they dig into the road. In any case, it's definitely a step up from what we experienced in the previous Assetto Corsa titles. In ACC and iRacing, you will start a session on cold tires, and I don't think this is the case in the game here. I mean, you will see, actually I am stopping for a second to show you the tire data. You will get on your screen this, which I think is a super cool feature. Actually, you can move around everything on your screen very easily, which I think is super convenient. But as you can see, you get the tire pressure, and the color on each is also showing the temperature. So when you start a new session, you will see that they're blue, which should mean that they're still cold at the beginning of the session, but they're warm up really quickly. And honestly, I didn't feel any difference of grip from the very start on the track, so I don't know if that's something that's gonna come up in the next updates, like in iRacing or ACC, where on the first couple laps you really have to be super careful because your level of grips are really low. But definitely not something I noticed here. Now, the last thing that I want to mention about the tires is that you can actually get flat spots. To test it out, I used the 992 GT3 Cup and set the ABS to 0. I got the car up to speed and then slammed on the brakes to induce a massive lockup. The tire temperature gauge went to full red, and after I got going again, I could noticeably feel a new vibration through my steering wheel, which got more aggressive the faster I went. The other thing that I want to test out, and I'm gonna go off on purpose, is really the gravel off track. This gravel actually stops you pretty good, as you can tell, like it would in real life. I really like actually the style of this. Now, one thing is, if I get back on the road, I should have gravel everywhere, and as you can see, there's really nothing. If you look in the back, I can hear it going off the car, but you're good pretty much immediately, and nothing is left on the track, so there's definitely no adjustment to the debris or anything like this, like iRacing just introduced recently. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of the good and the bad of this early access build. First of all, the good. The car handling physics, the suspension behavior, and tire model all feel really great. I love the addition of the flat spots. The graphics are a big step up, and the tracks and car models all look really nice with great attention to detail. Force feedback is pretty subjective, but I had no complaints. Now, for things I'd like to see change or that need some work, the way that you need to scroll up and down through the car selection is a pain, and the fact that each different livery or color scheme takes up one slot isn't optimal. The menu design is fine, and it's pretty clear that it's all a reskin of ACC. The AI needs a lot of work. It was hard to have a good race with AI without it being way too easy or having them all crash into each other. It would have been nice to have the career mode features in this build, such as the driving academy, but I'm sure that will come later. In the long run, I do think that those Simcade features will be the heart and soul of this game and will make it or break it when you compare it against games like Gran Turismo 7. There is no visual damage, and damage in general wasn't really working. And finally, there needs to be a good amount of work to improve the graphics optimization. There are a lot of people experiencing stutters, myself included, and the menu lag is annoying. If you're wondering if it's worth paying for early access, I would say it's definitely early, but if you don't mind basically being a tester and experiencing some bugs and graphical issues and you're a fan of the series, then go for it. The point of early access is to help the devs with feedback, finding errors and bugs, and basically experience the development of the game from its first build to the next several versions until the game's full version 1.0 release later in the year. So here are my final thoughts on AC EVO. And to answer the question, will it replace iRacing? Honestly, I don't think it's trying to. In a year's time, when the game is fully developed, I can definitely see it as a title that I will be playing in addition to iRacing. Especially if you're a fan of games like Gran Turismo 7 or Forza but only have a PC, AC EVO is definitely for you. But until Kunos, or any developer for that matter, adds a true in-game multiplayer matchmaking system, iRacing will remain the go-to sim for online races. And with that, that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed watching, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.